Greetings to everybody coming in the room. Hello to everybody coming in the room. We are going to jump right in. We're not going to wait too long. For those of you who are with us as we go forth in this live, hello to each and every person coming in the room, and hello to each and every person that will watch the playback. And I want to welcome you all to this week's episode of our Directional Goddess Lamp reading. The lamp that you see before you is our Moon Day lamp, and this will be the lamp that we will be working with on Mondays. And I've decided to do a lamp that corresponds to each day of the week. And so the weeks that I feel called to go forth and to give a message as it relates to our Directional Goddess Lamps readings, the lamps will change depending upon what day of the week that we are on. And so today we are going to be receiving wisdom from our Moon Day lamp. And so hello to each and every person coming in the room. Thank you for joining me. We are going to jump right in. My name is Rumonera Holland Bay, and I am your oil mancer here at the sanctuary, or over at the sanctuary. And so I thank you all for joining me. Those of you who may be new here or who may be new to our Goddess Lamps, I am an oil mancer, meaning that I divine and use the means of divination through the telling of working with oil. That is the form of divination that we use over at the sanctuary, especially as it relates to the divinatory tools that we create. And so welcome again to this week's episode of our Directional Goddess Lamp reading. I wanted to give our lamp a chance to move and to speak to us and to give us wisdom as it relates to the messages that they will have for us to know as we move through this week, as we move through the next 2 weeks, or maybe some of you may find these messages show up for you over the course of the next 6 months. And so we're going to jump in. Today's direction that our Goddess Lamp is focusing on, as you guys can look down and see, is that our lamp is in the center. And it's been burning for a while. I've had it burning for a while. And so the position that it's really stayed fixed in is really being in the center, and it hasn't moved at all much since lighting it this morning. And so that lets me know that the messages that are coming forth is heavily fixated into being in the center, not leaning in any one direction, but really being planted in the center of all things. And when you're planted in the center of all things, you know that your energy is effectively reaching wherever you need it to be, no matter which direction you may be desiring to pour fruits into or to plant seeds into. And so the messages that come forth or that correspond with our wick staying planted in the center, it corresponds. Well, let's just jump into this first. Moon Day or Monday deals with the zodiac sign of Cancer. It also corresponds to the element of water. And so any magic, any rituals, any information, any messages that you guys will feel called to do or called to act in will all be centered around your psychic abilities, be it channeling, divination is going to be focusing on your emotions today, is going to be focusing on your intuition, is going to be focusing on your own fertility. As I was reading and jotting down notes for this week's episode of our Directional Goddess Lamp reading, I kept hearing Spirit say that there's going to be a lot of babies that are going to be coming in through portals, a lot of fertility, a lot of unplanned pregnancies, and a lot of people who may be planning for pregnancies, but you found yourself having trouble with infertility. Today is a wonderful day to do some type of ritual or some type of healing work as it relates to your wombs. And if you find that you're out here, dipping in and doing it without protection, prepare yourself because you could pop up pregnant, okay? And so Monday deals with fertility, like I said, is centering around any type of healing work or shadow work. Monday's focus is on dream work. And the animal totem that is coming for today, again, is the dragon, but in the form of being yellow, okay? The center of the direction today being in the center corresponds or the center is establishing the order of the universe, right? So for many of us, we may find that there's a lot of repositioning or a lot of undoing or redoing as it relates to our place in this cosmic universe. As it relates to where we see ourselves and the missions that we feel called to, or the works that we feel is called to our hands, okay? And so the center really brings us and puts us in the center of really figuring out where we fit as it relates to the order of this universe. And if you find that you are in scenarios that feel out of order or out of bounds, the wick floating or being or fixing itself to the center of our goddess stamp is really calling you to put order into some things. Maybe you guys, or you find yourself being out of order as it relates to this universe. Maybe you find yourself being out of order as it relates to the nature of your life, as it relates to the nature of your dreams, as it relates to the nature of your goal. Allow the energy of our goddess stamp directional reading to really bring you back to center, to bring you back to the self in order for you to begin to redirect the happenings of your life in order to bring order that emulates the same order of this universe. The center deals with drawing us together, or drawing together the spiritual destiny of the collective humankind. And so we see so many different examples happening right now, especially as it relates to the collective and as it relates to us really finding our humanity as it relates to each other, our humanity as it relates to our actions. And so we're going to begin to see this week, a lot of this week, humanity coming together and really binding together in order to inflict change, in order to resurrect a new beginning, okay, in order to resurrect a new order, a new way that we order ourselves as it relates to this universe. And so we can expect to see this week and moving forward over the next couple of weeks, humanity really binding together in order to create harmony as it relates to the collective, as it relates to mankind, as it relates to humankind, whichever word you want to attach to it. The center deals with drawing together the spiritual destiny as well of the individual. And so the wick being fixed here in the center is really calling for us to begin to really bring our spiritual lives into practice. If you find that you have been lacking in your spiritual routines, if you found that you have been lacking in your daily rituals, if you found that you have been lacking in any area of your life that really contributes to you being in the order of things, Spirit is really calling us back to the spiritual center of ourselves in order to deal with who we are as an individual, right? The center is also dealing with the center being the center of the world deals with the heart, or corresponds to the heart, or the heart of reality. And so for many of us over these next couple of weeks, we're going to come face to face with having to deal with heart matters, right? Having to deal with the heart of our reality. You know, maybe there's a lot of things going on in your worlds that your heart is trying to get your attention in order for you to deal with, but your mind is taking you away from dealing, and your mind or distractions are taking you away from having to deal with yourself. Maybe you're finding distractions, or maybe distractions are just showing up on your path that's taking you further and further away from dealing with the heart space, right? And so the wick being in the center of our goddess lamp this rising is really calling for us to deal with the heart of the matters, to deal with the heart of our realities, no matter what they may be, even the heart of the collective, really assessing where we are as it relates to the collective. What does our heart space look like as a collective? You know, is it beating in compassion? Is it beating in love? Is it beating for new beginnings? Is it beating for change and transformation? Or are our hearts weakened? You know, are we unable to have compassion for each other? Are we unable to extend love and grace and empathy towards each other as it relates to the collective? And so this week we're going to really begin to see instances that are going to force us to see the heart of our reality. And in seeing the heart of our reality, Spirit is going to begin to show us the steps in order to either correct or to reassess where we are, okay? The center is where the real is fully manifested as well. And so those of you who have been heavy into planning, those of you who have been heavy in your visionary work, those of you who have been really fortifying your dreams and planting your seeds of manifestation, the week being in the center is really sending and driving home a strong message of the things that we are creating and the things that we are imagining in our lives are going to begin to take reality. Okay, the things and the visions that we are desiring to have for ourselves, if we stay centered, if we stay planted in the center, if we stay planted and fortified in our visions and in our dreams, the only option that the universe has to play out is the manifestation of the reality that you should so desire to see, right? And if your manifestations are not in order with this universe, then you're going to see a lot of chaos happening in your reality. You're going to begin to see a lot of chaos manifest around you because you're out of order in the universe in some way. And our goddess lamp is really directing us to come back to center. Okay, to come back to the center of it all, to come back to the center of our minds, of our thoughts, of our heart spaces, okay, of our dreams, of our goals, of our reality, okay. And the center is also, the center represents the soul of existence. Okay, so what is your soul speaking to you in this season? Okay, what is the soul of humanity saying to us in this season? Are we listening? Are we showing up for the messages and the wisdom that are coming forth? Are we turning a blind eye to the soul of existence? You know, are we turning a blind eye to the way that we see our world going, hoping and waiting for something or someone outside of us to change the direction for us, okay, or to shift the current for us? Okay, so the center, the week being in the center is really forcing us to deal with the soul of our existence as the individual and as well as the collective. The center is asking you, what ways of life are you living? Are you living in prosperity? Are you living in abundance? You know, are you living in prosperity? Are you living in love? Are you living in compassion? Okay, are you living your wildest dreams, or are you still a slave to the world that you've created? Okay, are you still a slave to the world that the beings that are outside of us are trying to place you in? Are you still a slave to the simulations that are creating in your individual reality and as well as the reality of the collective? Okay, so what ways of life are you activating in your life? Okay. The question is also being asked from the center is, are you interacting with your physical reality? Are you an active participant? You know, are you actively setting your intentions every day? Are you actively putting the work in order to accomplish the things that you say that you want to accomplish? Or are you just speaking words into dead soil? Are you not cultivating the soil that you're planting this season? Or are you just dropping seeds, hoping that they do the work on behalf of you? Okay, so are you active? Are you actively participating in your life in order to create it and to shift it the way in which you most desire to see it shaped? The center also connects to our Kundalini energy that is found in all of us. Okay, we are all able to tap into and connect to this serpent or snake-like energy, this Kundalini energy that becomes activated in each and every being when we make the choice to surrender to it. Okay, when we stop running from the things that Spirit is calling into order, but when we take the time to make the conscious decision in order for us to really balance ourselves, to balance our energies, to balance our power, to balance our thinking, to balance our actions, to balance our words. Okay, so I hear Spirit saying that for a lot of you, you're going to begin to feel a lot of activity at the base of your spine or moving up and down your spine. Maybe some of you have already been feeling a lot of activity as it relates to your spine and as it relates to your chakra. Maybe you found yourself engaging in a lot of chakra work. Maybe you found yourself doing a lot of cord cutting. Spirit is calling for us to really begin to pull and to align our chakras. And our wick being fixed in the center of our goddess lamp is really calling for us to plant ourselves in the center of all things, to plant ourselves in the center of all thoughts, of all communications. Okay. You guys can expect to see activity around the crown chakra, the solar plexus, and the heart chakra. These are the three chakras that are going to really be dealt with this week. And so if you find a lot of activity or a lot of communication or wisdom or messages coming in as it relates to these three chakras, know that you have connected to the direction of this directional goddess name reading. Know that Spirit is showing you these examples in real time on your path in order for you to see that you've been activated. If you found yourself showing up for this directional goddess name reading. And so the crown chakra is obviously sits at the top of the head. And so some of you may find a lot of headaches. Right now, we can expect to see a lot of head traumas, a lot of injuries to the head. I hear Spirit saying a lot of activity as it relates to the head of the collective, which is Aries. I am, who are you? Who is the collective? Who are you outside of the things that you want to accomplish? Who are you outside of being a mother? Who are you outside of being a father? Who are you outside of being a friend? Who are you outside of being an astrologer? Who are you outside of being a root worker? Who do you say that you are? Right? What is your thoughts and your communication like? How are your thoughts centering and studying the life that you're actively living? Okay, so we can expect to see a lot of crown chakra. The crown chakra deals with knowledge, so be very mindful of the knowledge that's coming forth right now. Be very mindful of the knowledge that you're pushing out. The crown chakra deals with fulfillment, so we can really expect to see the fulfillment of a lot of the seeds that we've been planting. Okay, we can expect to see a lot of so-called fulfillment of the plans and the rituals that the powers be are orchestrating and operating in, right? Or the illusion of fulfillment, right? Don't get caught in the illusion of fulfillment. Don't half-ass do something and think that you're going to fulfill the job that you set out to do. Okay? If you're going to and your mind is set and fixed on fulfilling a goal this week, okay, or fulfilling a dream this week, plant yourself in your mind this week. Plant yourself in the knowledge that you take away this week. Okay? The crown chakra deals with spirituality and self-realization. And so you guys can expect to see a lot of spiritual activity happening or heightening this week as it relates to the collective and as well as it relates to the individual. You're going to either begin to see a call for you to go deeper into the spiritual work that you've been called to, or some of you are going to be called to come out or to disconnect a little bit because you're too high spiritually. Okay, because you're too caught up in your mind or in the ways of beings or in the ways that we think we have to be spiritual. Some of us need to be grounded in the things of spirit. Okay, And self-realization, you guys can also expect to see a lot of instances that deal with you realizing a lot of things about yourself. There's going to be a lot of things that you realize about your bodies that you need to take action in, okay? Especially as it relates to the health. I know this week, and a lot of the people that are in my tribe, we have been dealing or being confronted a lot with our bodies and how we handle our bodies, or just ailments to the bodies, okay? And so Spirit is really beginning to deal with us, especially as we move forward over the next 6 months, of how we take care of our bodies, okay? How we take care of our immune systems, okay? How we take care of our digestive systems, how we take care of our minds. If you find yourself having a lot of headaches or a lot of migraines, Spirit is charging you to find the triggers, okay? And this is going to deal with what you take in the body. So there's going to be a lot of self-realization about the food that we eat. We're going to see a lot of self-realization in the collective as it relates to the food this week. So you guys can be prepared to see over the next 6 weeks things that have to do with food, how we intake food, things that food is made out of, how food is affecting the body, how food is affecting the thoughts. Okay, the next chakra that we can expect to see a lot of activity around is the solar plexus. You can find the solar plexus above the navel, and the solar plexus is dealing with our strength. Are you using your strength this week? Many of you are going to be challenged to find your strength over the next 2 weeks. Okay, many of us are going to be charged to find strength in order to help carry or navigate the collective as a whole. Okay, how are we able to provide strength to each other? Okay, how are we able to show up in strength for ourselves? What does strength look like? What does strength feel like? What does strength sound like? Okay, do you have people who are strong around you? Is your circle strong? Okay, is your tribe strong? Or is there a weak link somewhere? Is there some weeding that you need to do as it relates to the people who are closely attached to you? Okay, are they empowering you and fortifying you in strength? Or are they weakening the vessel of the individual and the vessel of the collective? Are you allowing things to fall through your hands or to slip through your fingers? Or are you on top of the things that you need to be on top of this week? Are you on top of your goals? Are you on top of your visions? Are you on top of the things that you said that you would do? Or are you procrastinating? Okay, the solar plexus deals with the ego. Okay, are you operating out of your ego? Are you allowing ego to lead you? Or are you leading your ego? Are you grounding your ego? Are you rooting your ego? Okay? Or do you find that your esteem is so weak that you need to activate the ego in order for you to see yourself as you should? The solar plexus deals with power, so we're going to see a lot of power structures change this week. And over the next 6 months, we're going to see a lot of breakdown in power. We're going to begin to see a lot of people step down from positions of power. We're going to see a lot of celebrities, a lot of influencers fall from power. Okay, and this doesn't only have to do with people that are in our face. We're going to even see the power structures change in our individual lives. Who have you given power to that doesn't deserve it? Okay, who are you allowing to strip you of your power? Okay, we're going to see a major shakeup as it relates to how the collective is influenced as it relates to power and who comes into power next. Okay. The solar plexus deals with our self-esteem. Okay. Are we finding time to worship and to pour back into ourselves? Are we finding time to do maintenance on our esteem? Okay, are we engaging in conversations and activities that are uplifting the esteem? Or maybe your esteem is too high that is operating out of ego, and in turn damaging the things and the people and the relationships around you. Okay, and out of that ego you think that it's everybody else, but it's not everybody, it's you. Okay, it's you. And like I was saying earlier, the spirit is dealing with our bodies. The crown chakra also deals with our digestion. Okay, so what are you taking into your body? Are you releasing properly? Okay, are the things that you're eating affecting your ability to release? Okay, are you blocked? Are you constipated? In your mind, in your heart space, in your solar plexus, are you constipated? Okay? Are you digesting the information and the knowledge that's coming in properly? Or are you regurgitating it because you're unable to keep it down? Okay? The colors of the solar plexus is yellow. And the last chakra that we're going to see a lot of activity around is the heart chakra. And if we look at the chakras in order, we see that the heart chakra falls directly in the center of all of the chakras as a whole. We see the heart falling in the center. And so Spirit is really charging us to deal with heart matters this week. There's going to be a lot of information that's going to be coming in about the heart through your psychic channeling, through your intuitive understandings, through your divinatory practices. A lot of messages are relating to and will be corresponding at the heart. Many of us are going to be charged to use our heart spaces right now. We're going to see the heart space of the collective explode, either in compassion or either in chaos. Okay? The heart space is obviously found in the center of the chest, and the heart space deals with love, acceptance, compassion, kindness, and peace. Are you taking on these faculties? Are you taking on the faculty of love? Are you operating in love? Are you communicating in love? Are you creating in love? Are you giving in love? Are you manifesting love around you? Okay, are you able to find love and still be able to look at the collective in a loving way? Or is your heart turned cold? Okay? Are you being acceptant of the things that are coming into your life in order to show you and to teach you and to sharpen you? Are you able to have compassion for yourself and the people around you this week? These next couple weeks are really going to be dealing with us in our heart space. Especially as it relates to love, to acceptance, to compassion, to kindness, and to peace. The center deals with and connects to the element of earth. And so earth came up as well during our first directional guidance lamp reading. And so if you find that you're still having trouble grounding yourself, really buckle down and be intentional about creating time in order for you to ground yourself, to ground your intentions, to ground your bodies. Okay, to go outside and to spend time in nature, to go outside, go to a park this week and play. Play on the jungle gym. Okay, play on the seesaw. Okay, play jumping jacks. Okay, anything that allows you to really tap into the element of play and of acceptance. Okay, anything that is allowing you to tap into the energy of earth. Go be around earth signs. Maybe you have a lot of earth energy that's in your chart that's unbalanced that you may need to bring into your space this week. Maybe you need to activate the aspects of your chart that deals with earth. Okay. And earth relates to our spirituality and our wholeness. And so there's going to be a lot of things and a lot of pieces that are going to come back together in order to create a picture of wholeness. Okay, we're going to see a lot of things in our collective community that is going to present as wholeness, but it's not. Okay, we're going to begin to see our relationships become wholesome or whole. Okay, and then for a lot of us, we're going to begin to see ourselves become whole again, especially through the rebalancing and the activation of the Kundalini energy that was within all of us. And so you guys can expect to see a lot of serpent energy over these next couple weeks, a lot of snake energy. Medusa. I keep hearing the energy of Medusa, and she's been around me for a while. But the energy of Medusa, pictures of Medusa, information about Medusa, is going to be coming into play. Okay? The center connects to the labyrinth, which is a system of winding lines or ways with numerous changes and many directions, that it becomes a pattern or a riddle, which ultimately leads us to the destination of the center. And so for many of you, you're going to begin to see the symbol of the labyrinth activated in your life. And for many of you, you feel like you're spread in every direction. You feel like you don't know whether you should go to the east. Many of you are like this wick in the center. You don't know whether you should go to the south. You don't know whether you should go to the north, to the west, or the east. You don't know if you should take this route or that route. You don't know if you should change jobs. You don't know if you should change directions. You don't know what to do with your children. And so Spirit is saying to stand still and to be in the center of it all and to ground yourself in the center of it all. And no matter which direction that you choose, understand that wherever you go is leading you back to the center of the self, or further away from the center of the self. What does your labyrinth look like? How are the patterns of inconsistency showing up in your life? How are the patterns of worry or of fear showing up in your life, making you unsure of which direction to go in, making you afraid to move in any direction because you don't know what's standing on the other side? You don't need to know. You don't need to know. You just need to move. And if you don't know which way to go, stand still until Spirit tells you where to go. Stay planted until Spirit tells you which direction you need to focus your energy into. And so today, if you're unsure about your direction, Spirit is saying to stay fixed and to stay planted in the center. Because in the center, you're able to touch every direction. You're able to touch every corner. Just being in the center of it all. Nothing is lost. All of the energy is going out equally because you're in the center of it all. Okay? The construction of the labyrinth symbolizes our path, right? And so for many of you, you're going to have to run into different directions in order to find your path. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're lost. It doesn't mean that you're off your marker. It doesn't mean that you got it wrong. It just means that you're figuring it out. You're figuring it out. Okay? And our paths are not always going to be in order. For many of us, the path is going to be messy. The path can be confusing. Okay? The path can be downright frustrating. Okay? The path can be lonely. It doesn't mean that you're making the wrong decision. And it doesn't mean that you're on the wrong path. It's telling you to stay planted in the center until Spirit gives direction. Until Spirit allows the path to look clearer. Okay? Until Spirit gives you the steps in order to orchestrate the path a little better. Okay? The center represents the desire to aim. The being in the center, the wick being planted in the center is representing our desire to aim. What are you aiming at? What are you aiming towards? Are you aiming towards greatness? Are you aiming towards peace? Are you aiming towards harmony? And understand that this journey is not, peaches and cream. For many of you, you need to aim towards destruction in order to build again. The aim as it relates to the collective, the aim as it relates to us as a whole, we are aiming towards destruction in order to rebuild again. In order for us to set a new path. In order for us to set a new journey. The aim as a collective is heading towards death and destruction, which fortifies rebirth and new beginnings. Right? So what are you aiming towards over these next 2 weeks? What are you aiming your thoughts at? What are you aiming your actions at? What are you aiming your intentions at? What are you aiming your body to be and to become? Okay? The land birth embodies our spiritual and physical journey in search of self-knowledge and wisdom. And so for all of us, we should continuously be on a journey of self-knowledge. And for many of us, we are actively in our journeys of self-knowledge. But if you find yourself just coming onto this journey, if you find yourself really being put into the position where you're forced to see yourself, you're being forced to see your reality, you're being forced to see your community, you're being forced to see the collective for what it is, you must understand that these happenings are thrusting you deeper into the understanding of self-knowledge and self-understanding and wisdom. And we gotta be fearless enough to stay planted in the center in order for that wisdom and that transformation and that change to come. In order for it to create something new, in order for it to create a new existence. Okay? The center deals with the will of law. Okay? How is law showing up in your life? And I'm not talking about law as it relates to government and laws as it relates to police or those type of laws. I'm talking about the will of law as it relates to the universe. Are you in order with the universe? Are you changing and transforming and dying to everything that the planet is dying to? Or are you keeping a simulation in place that no longer has a position? The center deals with and tells us that we need to find our center. For those of us, we're going to be forced over the next 2 weeks to find our center. The center in our mind, the center in our homes, okay? Okay, what does the center look like as it relates to operating with your spouse? What does the center look like operating with your children? What does the center look like operating with your coworkers? Okay, and what does the center of the collective look like? What does that feel like? The center also is a charge for us to return to source. We have to return to source. Okay? I don't care what name you give it. Whatever name you give it, you must understand what that name means. Because that's the energy that you're sending out. So what does the return to source look and feel like to you? Are you being charged to return to source, but you're being stubborn? Because the source doesn't look like the same source that it looked like when you were coming up. Has the source changed? And in the changing of the source, has it caused you to question yourself? Has it caused you to question your existence? Has it caused you to question your path? And if it is, that tells you that you're right on time, that you're right in the center of where you need to be. Okay? The center is calling for us to be present and to be in the now. So if you've been having trouble centering yourself or finding time to just ground yourself in your own energy, to ground yourself in your own thoughts, to ground yourself in how you feel and what you feel, Spirit is calling for us to be present this week. And what does being present look like? Do you have scenarios that are happening in your life that are going to force you to be present? Or are you going to use your free will to initiate it so that Spirit doesn't have to put you on your ass in order for you to get the message, in order for you to get the knowledge? The center deals with breath work. So this week, over these next couple weeks, let's really work on breathing, being mindful of our breath. For myself, I use myself as an example. This week, I've been dealing a lot with stomach issues and digestion, and because I have not been taking care of my body, not being obedient to the extent that I need to be obedient, because I haven't been being present with myself, especially as it relates to my body, because I haven't been in tune with my body, I allowed my body to get to the point that the only way for it to get my attention was to affect my breath. And let me tell you something. When you can't breathe, that's going to get your attention. Because you won't be able to eat, you won't be able to sleep, you won't be able to operate in the things that you need to operate in. I don't care how magical and spiritual you are. It doesn't matter if you can't breathe. And we know that the breath is the life force. And so when we're not present in our experience, at any time, our life force can be snatched from us. Our breath can be snatched from us. Maybe it's not a physical breath. Maybe it's the breath in your visions. Maybe it's the breath of your dreams. Okay, so these next couple weeks, Spirit is really going to be dealing with us with our breath and how we breathe. And a lot of our life force is attached to our digestion. 222 is attached to our digestion. Okay, the center corresponds to the cosmic tree, as well as the ladder or staircase. So you guys are going to be seeing a lot of examples of stairs, a lot of examples of ladders, and understand that when you see these ladders and these staircases, that the connection of getting back to the spiritual source of all things is present. It's present. It's present. And so today, if you do nothing else, be present. And one more chakra that's going to be come up for you guys over this next couple weeks as it relates to the collective and as it relates to the individual is the throat chakra, which can be found at the back of the neck, the throat. So this deals with our communication and our expression and our honesty and our purification. How are you communicating? How are you communicating with the people around you? How are you communicating with yourself? How are you taking in and digesting the communication that's coming down from the powers that be? How are you taking in the communication that's coming from the media? How are you taking in this communication and regurgitating it back in order for you to understand your experience even greater than what you understood it before? So there's going to be a lot of pressing communication that's going to be coming in for us as it relates to the collective, especially as it relates to the governments. Okay, we can expect to see a lot of communication happening over these next couple weeks. Okay, and we can expect to see a lot of expressions of communication, even if it's not verbal communication. Find other ways in which communication looks, or the expression of communication looks like. That can be symbols. Okay, that can be words, that can be body language. Pay attention to all these things over these next couple weeks. Okay, pay attention to all these things. The throat chakra deals with light blue and turquoise. And in the ending of our directional goddess name reading, I want to leave you all with this. And there's one song that I want to play as I close this out in the form of music, Mancy. The song is called I Am Connected. But before I play this song, I want to leave you all with this. Being in the center symbolizes a connection to life itself. Finding one's self without effort in the center of the world, at the heart of reality. You don't have to force your way into the center of things. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be difficult. Okay? It doesn't have to be a struggle. It doesn't have to be obstacle filled. You just got to decide. What are you deciding on today? What are you deciding for the heart of your reality? What are you deciding? What decisions are you making that will be effortless for you over these next couple weeks? Okay? And so if you find yourself all over the place over these next couple weeks, or if you found yourself all over the place in every direction, allow our directional goddess name reading to really remind you of being in the center of it all. That it reminds you to be present and to be aware in your experience, to be grounded in the reality of the heart matters that Spirit is bringing to your attention. Okay, I want to read some of your comments. Hello to everybody who came into the room. It's Ted, the incense man. Hey, King. I'm so glad that you had a chance to tap in, even if it was on accident. Nothing happens on accident. Everything happens right in divine timing. And so you were divinely guided here, and I thank you for even just tapping in for a few moments. Hello, P. Dr. 12. Thank you for tapping in as you are at work, and I'm so grateful that you received this message. And listen, Medusa was dealing with me a couple weeks ago as well. And so as Medusa continues to come up for you, really begin to delve deeper, not only into the book knowledge of who Medusa was, but really tap in and access the Medusa energy as it relates to the body, as it relates to the thoughts, as it relates to the actions. Okay. And then Lak Yogi says she saw 222 today. She has a lot of numbers coming at her from all over, and the messages have all been about balancing the self, having faith, and doing the inner work. And so I thank you. I thank you for that validation and for that confirmation, because it truly confirms and validates everything that was spoken today from our directional reading as it relates to being in the center of all things. And so as I leave you all today, I truly hope that this song of Music Mancy inspires you to connect and to be present and to be aware of the heart matters, to be aware of the chakras that are coming online, especially as it relates to the solar plexus, to the crown chakra, and to the throat chakra. Okay? Peace, y'all, and I thank y'all for rocking with me. And I'm going to take us out in a little bit of Music Mancy. I love y'all.